Hello, beautiful souls. This is part three of the continued story. Um, then I'm going to first give you the author's notes or the writer's notes and a little background on that. And then I'll get into the story that was written about 30 years ago regarding that. And it's unusual, some of the things that's happened since that story was wrote that have manifested. So sometimes I want people, especially my students, to remember that we are the writers, the actors, the producers, and the directors of our own movie, of our lives. And sometimes our words that we say many, many, many years ago will continue to haunt us for decades until we can have some cognition about them, some consciousness, and be able to either alchemize them, put that story away, stop telling that story, revise that story, um, polish it, get it ready for sale so that it earns us income. That's what I'm doing. So, anyway, um, because of the times that we're in right now, and I'm a revolutionist. I take certain situations and alchemize them and reproduce something new out of it. A little background on doing that is right now, whatever we want to transform, whether it's your money, your relationships, your health, right now, um, you want to put your soul first. Okay, your soul, not your ego, not your, um, sorry, my other camera slipped off. Not your ego, not your community, not your family, your soul. So when we put our soul first, it is, and its evolution. Okay. You're here to grow. You're here to learn lessons. That's how our frequency goes higher and higher. Okay. We don't dwell down there in the shame level. We're going toward love and peace and bliss, forgiveness. We're aiming that direction. Okay. So when what we think we should do counts more than what our souls need to evolve is, um, we don't do very well. Sometimes it's because we have a lot of trauma around certain events, and those events keep us from uh, creating and bringing forth. We avoid them, so we don't bring forth what we need to set ourselves free. So Vesta, I study the divine feminine a lot, and Vesta happens to be one of the archetypes that we look at. She is the keeper of the inner flame. So literally the life force. So when we create lives out of the ashes, it's like the phoenix rising when reincarnation, been reborn. So when we create our lives out of what our soul needs to evolve, then we literally are creating a whole new world to come forth from sacred ground. Okay. And that sacredness comes from your bones. It is your bone marrow. It is your blood flow is created there. It is um, what I call the spiritual backbone. Okay, and we have to feed that. Okay, our creativity, our art feeds that. Eating a non-toxic diet, living in a non-toxic environment feeds that. Okay, because toxicity, think of that as another word for satanic evolution. And go from there. Anyway, we want to peel back the faults. We want to peel back what doesn't serve us. We want to peel back what uplifts us, what loves us, what nourishes us, what makes us happy, makes us dance, makes us sing. Okay. We want that. Go for that. And everything else, you burn it. You let it go. You let the phoenix rise out of the ashes. You let the hummingbird have her day. Okay. So, um, one, that's how we're going to get rid of the ancestral wounding and those epigenetic conditioned patterns that we have stored in our bones, in our DNA. Okay. So, it's really important that we listen to the bones, listen to our soul, not our mind. Okay. Because you can be influenced by anything and everything you see. You can be sold anything and everything. So don't listen to the brain or your mind, your thoughts, or even your heart. I mean, you can like things, you can have a taste for things, you can have a craving for something, but let it live and let it settle. Just be still with it long enough, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe years for some of us, till it becomes that still small voice, until you can learn to distinguish your intuition from your soul, from your ego. And there's a big octave range, tone difference in there. So the heart can fight the mind, and the mind can fight the heart. You know, if you've been married 5 times and the love of your life enters the door, your mind is going to have some argument. Your heart's probably going to have some arguments too. But are you going to listen to your soul? And sadly, many people make most of their choices from their mind or their heart and not from their bones, from their soul, from their spiritual backbone. So if we could start a revolution to change that way of decision making, I'm in. Okay? I'm in. I'm enrolled in that game. Um, when you're challenging your old conditioned patterns, your ancestral patterns, you're going to be challenging your old security, what kept you safe, belief systems. So just write those down. You know, this is what I think I need to do to stay safe within my budget, within the cultural norms, so I'll be accepted into the tribe. My family will love me. I'll inherit my Uncle Tom's $1 million, whatever. Okay. Sometimes your soul's evolution is much more valuable than the $1 million. It's much more valuable than the community recognition. Okay. So only you know that. You have to look yourself in the mirror. You have to look yourself in the mirror. Um, whatever it is that evolves your soul, you have to bring that into alignment with your life, with your path, with your living. All right? That's your work. And it's been my work consciously since July 8th of 1988, when I had the death experience and went on into heaven and had lots of classroom stuff and lessons in love and what love meant and how love could be used as a medicine and how love healed us and all of that. Now, right now, there is a destiny line going on in some astrology charts. A lot of people are waking. I don't know if quarantine helped this evolve or if quarantine came about because this is what's evolved. Who knows which direction the energy flows there sometimes. But it'll hit you like a lightning bolt. Okay. Um, it's a truth, it's a destiny that will be unearthed. It's like an archaeology dig. You're gonna find it if you can dig deep into it. It could be around areas of your sexuality, your money, your relationships, a scarcity mindset kind of thing. Again, I reiterate, make your choices from your bones, from your soul, not your mind and not your heart. And there's a different world that you would create from different places like that. So go deep into your body, into your bones. That destiny line right now has a lot to do with commitments and the vows that we take. Um, I believe that Persephone and Demeter, her mother, are in conjunction right now in that destiny line. And so a lot of um, rebirth, a lot of commitments that we make, our vows that we give. Like I vowed to do this book and another book and another book and just keep writing till the end of my days. I have commitments to family. I have commitments to my little dog. Those vows that we have, you know, to your career, to maybe your job, your um, livelihood. If it is your art, we have sacred vows, and so those are um, coming into review at the very least, or need to be realigned, and some work needs to be done on it right now. So, with all that being said, remember that we are. I had an old teacher that used to say, live where the grapes grow. Because if a grape can grow there, a soul can grow there. And I learned that the soul is like a grape. You know, it can mature and age and have a real distinct flavor and vintage and become more valuable over time. Or a soul without consciousness is just vinegar, you know. Not that it's not useful for some things and fermenting pickles, but you are capable of grinding the grapes of your life into fine wine. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the story. And this story starts with the character Asclepius. Asclepius was the Greek god of healing. He's known as that in Greek mythology. If you look it up, you'll read more. Corneus was his mother. Apollo was his father. Corneus made the mistake of laying with a mere mortal, and Apollo found out about it and smite her, killed her. Or he had her killed. I think it's subjective in the history books on which way it goes there. But at the last minute, he remembered that she was carrying his child. And he went over and cut her womb open and removed his child, which was a little boy, a son, that he named Asclepius. So he took Asclepius to the heavens, and he was raised by the old wise ones in the temples. And he himself became our first wounded healer. A wound in healing is usually a place that love doesn't exist. So for him, it was about the absence of his mother's love. Okay, so his whole life was about looking for or helping to heal that absence. Okay, so he became a wounded healer. In AA, a wounded healer is an example of someone who is an alcoholic and who ceases drinking by working a program and using their higher power to help get them through, and then gives that away, helps someone else to do it. So they've become the wounded healer by giving their wound, their journey, their story to uplift someone else. They can't do it for them, but they can inspire them. They can empower them. They can uplift them. Give them a hand up, not a handout. Okay? So, with that being said, Asclepius was raised in the temples with Chiron and became very wise and very knowledgeable about healing and very, very gifted, very gifted. You would also know Hippocrates, which is the father of medicine. He was Asclepius's grandson. So, whereas wounded healing is all about bringing the love through um, the cracks, some people feel like they are broken, and wherever it is we are broken, if we give that to our higher power and pray over it and work our program and stay patient, be mindful, do our meditation practice, take care of ourselves, divine love, God, divine genius will use that and shine forth a light and make it better than it ever could have been. Okay? Because the light adds a dimension of love, of healing, of repair, okay, of depth. And there are some people who are possibly predestined to that, and there are some people that are possibly incapable of turning their lives around to receive that wounded healing gift. In Western culture here, we have what we call allopathic medicine, which is more Hippocrates driven. So it's more surgery and take the magic pill and, someone will fix you. Okay. But Asclepius medicine is more the wound happened, but the medicine is inside of you. The light, the love is inside of you that is going to be delivered. So there's a very different perspective, and yet one can embrace the other. Okay, so wounded healing, someone can reach down inside of themselves and help to heal themselves and find their medicine, much like Edgar Cayce did for millions of people. Or you can have surgery and maybe have to reach down inside of yourself to still find the strength and the courage to heal. So it could be a combination of both in medicine today. I am a wounded healer, Asclepius model healer. So I've had many, many wounds, much like many physicians take classes in a university or a medical school, and they learn academically how to fix your appendix or remove your appendix or to cure um, a broken leg. Okay, but in the Asclepius model, we learned how to go within, how to be present for ourselves, how to self love, how to care for who we are, how to bring and alchemize the shadow, the ego, and bring the love through, the light through, the God juice, the genius, the artist. We bring that through the wound and experience a healing. Now, we will always be gifted on some level at giving that to others. Some people make it a choice to step back. Some people make it a choice to stand on stage. So there are some variables there that each life has to determine what's right for them. All right? So, about 20,000 years ago, come or, you know, plus or minus a million years, in the ancient regions of northern continent of Lemuria, the first known healing scientist was there. Okay, so we're talking about Asclepius. Because of his wounding, because of his birth origins in epigenetics, this man looked for love. Okay, he wanted to know a mother's love. He wanted to know the nurturing. He wanted to know the tenderness. Okay. And in this country, there was a very fair young woman who still possessed her innocence, almost childlike, when she first met him, anyway. She realized that he was one of the gods that had ruled over the affairs of mortal hearts. But she was very taken with him. And she didn't listen to her heart or her mind. She followed her bones. It never occurred to her the risk involved with being with this Greek god of healing, Asclepius. Without any thought or concern or fear of the consequences to herself, she fell in love with this magnificent man, God. He was strong and powerful, and everything that her dreams had revealed to her that she could believe in. She came to know that these were things about love and what someone could be. The romance began, and it lived out in Lemuria, in the temples, the science temples, where experiments in free will and healing started. We're learning to listen in our dreams began. When beginning to understand that we have the answers within us, she was a part of that. And he was her inspiration. However, shortly after their coming together, or their union,